Hey friends, we are in Galatians chapter 2, and there are some of Paul's most famous words in this chapter. Let me read them for you. Chapter 2 verse 20. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. Paul says, I've been crucified with Christ. And in case you're unsure, that really is at the heart of the message of the gospel. If you have given your life to Christ, you have died. You have died. This is right at the very heart of the gospel. You have died. You are no longer who you were. You are now a new creation in Christ. And because of that, it means that the way we think, the way we behave, the way we speak, the way we live needs to be transformed. No longer do we live for just myself. No longer do I live for me and me alone, because I have died and now I live for Christ and Christ lives in me. And so my mindset, my heart, my mentality needs to be not so much about what I want, what I need, what I desire, but what Christ wants, what Christ needs, and what Christ is asking of me. It's a complete radical shift, change in direction. I have died and now I live by faith in Christ. It's not about me, it's all now about him. Now this may sound kind of harsh, especially to those of you who are unfamiliar, and to those who are outside of the church and unfamiliar with the message of the gospel. This may sound like a terrible, miserable message. The message of the gospel, come and die. Why would I want to do that? That doesn't sound like a good thing. But actually the reverse is true, because Jesus himself says in Mark chapter 8 and in a couple of other places in the gospel, he says, anyone who seeks to find their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. In other words, to give up your life, to give up control, to surrender to Christ, to be crucified with Christ, is in fact to live in complete and total freedom. It sounds paradoxical, it sounds illogical, but oftentimes the things of God are. You see, the pathway to true freedom is to give up control. The pathway to true life is to go through death. You see, if you're a Christian today, then that's true of you. You have died. You have been crucified with Christ, and now you no longer live for yourself, but you live for him. And this is something that we need to remind ourselves of daily. It's something that happened. It has happened, but it's something that we need to walk in daily. In fact, the Apostle Paul elsewhere, 1 Corinthians 15, he says this, he says, I die daily. In other words, every day when we wake up and go about life, we need to make the choice to choose to die to my desires, what I want, what I need, my ambitions, my dreams. We choose to die to those things and choose instead to live to what God and what Christ is asking of me. So maybe today, I don't know where you are, maybe there's something in your life that you are holding on to. Maybe there's something in your life that you are refusing to let die with Christ. Well, maybe today could be the day when you choose to put that thing to death and choose to live in Christ today. And the beauty of it all is, as we choose to give up control, that's when we really find what it means to live in true freedom. So let's, with Paul today, choose to die to our fleshly desires and wants, and choose to live to the wants and the desires of the Spirit in Christ. It's not easy, but by the power of the Spirit we can do it. Have a great day. Take care.